with all the odious BS about people like myself being anti-Semitic because we don't like final solutions visited on children in Gaza. One can be forgetful of how odiously supremacist, how ugly the slurs of the Jewish community are. I grew up in Pittsburgh. I know it for a fact. Mick Wallace and Claire Daly, who represented the EU and Ireland in various capacities as politicians, sat stock still when an Irish was singled out as a child to torture. They removed the IRE from the word squirrel, spelled it SQURL, and derided me as a DERF, DERF, after deafening me. To link insensibilities. The scriptwriters who they claim killed John Lennon with John Lennon to unite them, because John Lennon was tactically a supremacist. They had a lot in common, and he loved to slur other people, just like they do. And the innocent were guilty, and the guilty were innocent. The Beatles began their career in Germany. The Beatles themselves were named by Adolf Hitler after his Volkswagen. The Confederate Secret Service was based in Liverpool. When Oswald killed JFK, as he was party to what was going on there, he was a namesake of Oswald Mosley, the leader of the British Union of Fascists, and a friend of General Edwin Walker, who had just been let out of an insane asylum for threatening to kill JFK over the University of Mississippi race riots. Well, the racists in New York who would visit Pittsburgh used to laugh. If you try to help black people, they will only turn on you. And the demonstration project was to have Obama represent the people who killed Martin Luther King. He was Johnny Cochran for Gail Burston, whose script spells out what they were up to. This is what George Galloway evidently means by leading with the right and finishing with the left. It's sad to behold the cruelty of Seattle's Nazi hypocrisy in authoring Armageddon package after Armageddon package in the name of their ego fantasies to dominate the open mic as bullies. They evoke Hair, which was about libertinage, and say that I didn't heal correctly when being backstabbed by everybody. And then they say that Nazism is justified over a drama club arrangement, so-called one-night stand. It's no accident that Migna Wen also starred in a movie called One Night Stand, that her drama club set up the situation with the gang around Shulman on Craig Street, from where they killed JFK Jr., as other people witnessed. Barbanek actually went to the location around Woods Hole to watch the plane come down. Barbanek, who was present on Mount Desert Island and had followed me to Edwardsville when I worked for Hypatia Feminist Philosophy Journal. The drama club is a form of espionage put on. And despite the fact that this bears the fingerprints of Hollywood, Access Hollywood, nobody believes that Access Hollywood is capable of for real doing what they pretended to do in countless of their movies. You Only Live Twice begins with James Bond's death and then his being spirited away to come back to life because his death was a put on. The put on is in Mannix, where a man comes and says, in a bandage that hides his face, I want you to find out who killed me. The put on is in the opening episode of Kung Fu, where Kwai Chang is told, we'll know you're alive. It's in film noir movie after film noir movie. He thinks I'm dead. They might realize that I'm not a corpse after all. The refrains are in Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, The Time Tunnel. In the brochure that Reagan's defense attorneys gave me on the day he claimed he was shot, there's no such thing as objective reality, only what the jury believes. Clint Eastwood's flippant name for Where Eagles Dare was Where Doubles Dare. And of course, just like, meaning looks just like, double fantasy. So Hollywood is in control of your television set, just like the Outer Limits set. The opening episode, the premiere episode of the Outer Limits, was postponed for Kennedy's state funeral. It starred Cliff Robertson, who also starred as JFK in PT-109. This poacher division of Access Hollywood are snuff film experts. Cliff Robertson went in a private plane to orbit the World Trade Center on 911. He's there, narrator in the sky with diamonds, explaining all of it clearly and concisely so that they can laugh as they rub it in our faces. This is what they meant by the walrus. This is what they meant by Enru, which is the name of a Secret Service agent with Reagan, meaning back from the dead. It's what they meant by Lazarus when they said in Franklin Graham's Worth Fighting For, or something, whatever the book is called. Lazarus changed his name to Hitler because Hitler changed his name to Lazarus because he was back from the dead. They used Bly Sanders, who was one of the brainstormers of the operation way back when they thought of it, for Blaze from the Sanders or Phoenix. Enru, Phoenix, Casper, they use over and over again. Casper Weinberger and the man who tortured me, who Yoko Ono says I must forgive, or they'll blow up this mountain over here by Tacoma. And the Black Panthers in Seattle will go rah, 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 rah. That's a barbecue. How do you explain that? By Lennon Sudini. Yoko Ono loved to taunt the mind of her opposition, which she singled out. I never had anything against her. FDR said there's only nothing to fear but fear itself, back in the days of the Depression. So she just had to say, don't be afraid to be afraid. She just had to. The Beatles are cruel. They're supremacist. And they are quite rightly identified with Israel by the script they called Proof of Lennon's Assassin's Excellency.